All right, brothers, we are back with some preseason rankings. So was just in the lab, made this list partially pretty quickly. So let's see how accurate we are. We are gonna go from bottom to the top, and we are gonna be starting off with no one other than himself, Cash at number 12. First glimpse at Cash's team, honestly, really good starting quarterback. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, QB1. He did have a low season last season at 7. It really is never going to get any worse than that, to be honest. I do love Josh Jacobs as a running back. Aaron Jones is pretty sketchy. I do love AJ Brown as a good wide receiver one. But after that, honestly, the wide receivers get pretty sketchy. Roma Dunze, don't really know if he's going to make that extreme impact right in the beginning, especially with Keenan Allen also in the mix now, and DJ Moore had a really good season last season. Tyler Lockett maybe on his way out with JSN coming. Not really too big on Seattle's offense, to be honest. I do like DK and Kenneth Walker this season, but not an extreme value that way. I really think they're going to kind of be their RB2, wide receiver two, but we'll kind of get to that when we get those other teams. I do love Pacheco as running back. I think it was a good keeper at number 5. So I would honestly slap Pacheco where Aaron Jones is at, but I don't like Aaron Jones as a flex here. Um, see, bench is looking pretty bare, to be honest. Jacoby Myers could be starting to flex sometimes, honestly. I think I'd be honestly starting Jacoby Myers in the flex over Tyler Lockett for sure, honestly. Not really the best team. The wide receivers, once again, are very sketchy. I think he's going to probably have to try to make some moves. I'm hoping that Aaron Jones would essentially kind of be the one that he's going to trade if he takes off, or maybe Josh Jacobs if he wants to run Aaron Jones and Pacheco, but really not the best team off the rip, honestly. So Cash is going to be number 12 for me for sure. Number 11, we are going to go to Bryant's team. Brian's team. All right. I feel like I'm honestly never really a big fan of Brian's teams, unfortunately. He does have Travis Kelsey. Are we shocked? Not really. Once you see Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill on a team, though, you're definitely pretty happy about it. The thing for me and Brian's team is honestly it's running backs. I do think David Montgomery is going to have a strong beginning of the season, like he essentially did last season. But I do think the fall off is going to come a lot quicker than it did happen last season. Jahmyr Gibbs is legit, and he's definitely the real deal. I know Jahmyr Gibbs definitely is a little bit banged up, so I do think Montgomery is going to be taking a little bit more of the workload kind of at the beginning just because of that. The long season, Lions are Super Bowl contender, so you always got to keep those things in mind, honestly. Is Mostert going to repeat it? I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like A-Chain is the one to have. It's just kind of like my gut, but if Mostert does repeat, we would not be surprised. Regardless, I just don't think he's a league winner. I think he might be more consistent, and A-Chain is going to be the one that's going to be the league winner here. I do like Debo. I hate now that Ayuk is back though, but Debo definitely is the life of this team outside of CMC. I do think Ayuk is like the third kind of best player on that team. Debo's electric. He's going to release some touches from CMC definitely in the beginning because CMC, once again, his calf was also kind of banged up. So I do think they are going to be reducing his workload a little bit. Enter Debo. He's going to be getting those runs as well, and the Niners love to do that with him. He's a big part of their team. Let's go to the flexes here. Stephon Diggs in a crowded wide receiver room. You know, Stephon Diggs always starts the season so well, but is it going to happen this season on a new team? I don't know. I'm not too big on it, honestly. I think there's a lot of other wide receivers I would rather have. Speaking even of Jaden Reed, like I think I would like to have Jaden Reed over Stephon Diggs, but they were drafted, um, I would say in pretty some different territories here. Jaden Reed also is in a crowded wide receiver room. It's going to be interesting to see if he's going to establish himself. Um, Definitely was one of a league winning wide receivers last season, but let's see if he can kind of keep that up, honestly. Um, Overall, it definitely is not a terrible team, but I do think is one of the weaker ones just because of the running back play, honestly. I do like the Purdy and Samuel thing. It definitely gets a little bit of a bump up for me, but it's a tough league here. And I don't know if this team has the sauce, honestly. All right. Next, we are going to go with Weston's team here. All right. Feel like I'm being a little bit of a pessimist with Wes's team, honestly. I just think there's a lot that can potentially go wrong. Garrett Wilson, round one. I'm a Jets fan. I love the Jets, but is Garrett Wilson going to prove his ADP? I think If things go well, he is. And but there's a lot of opportunity where it cannot go well, which is like my biggest worry. Did he deserve to be more around 2 or around 3? I think we're going to see. But if he can prove his worth, that would be great. But outside of Garrett Wilson, Malik Neighbors is a rookie on a terrible Giants offense. He definitely is going to get peppered with targets, but I just don't know if he's going to be a good redraft player this year. Um, Keenan Allen, we kind of have this same thing that I was talking about before with the Bears. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. What's really going to be happening there? I don't really know. Keenan Allen definitely is older, so maybe he's that going to be that safety blanket. Christian Kirk, I own Christian Kirk in a couple leagues. Not someone that I would like to be playing, but I guess in a flex, it's an okay spot here. Kincaid, the Bills are definitely supposed to get a lot worse. We'll see if that happens, but the target's got to go to someone. I do like Kincaid, but it's really going to be the matter of consistency here. I do love the upside. Enter in Derrick Henry. Is he going to get that same workload in this new team in Baltimore? I do think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns, but I, my worry is that he's going to be touchdown dependent. And same thing with Najee, honestly. Najee is going to be splitting carries with Jalen Warren, so we'll see what kind of happens there. Jalen Hurts, always great quarterback to have, but Saquon is there. Is he going to be taking some of his rushing touchdowns? Maybe. This team definitely scores more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns, so I do think he is not going to be scoring as much fantasy points as last season. I know they definitely had a little bit of fall off towards the end. So maybe it might be pretty similar, but I just don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be that league winning potential essentially that he was about like 2 years ago, unfortunately. But once again, not a terrible team. There's definitely things that can kind of go wrong here, which is my worry for it, honestly. All right. Next, we are going to go with Mac. Wherever his team is. Where is Mac? There you go. Jalen. Honestly, pretty incredible that actually happened. All right. So for Mac's team right here, you see CMC. That is the obvious number one here. We're going to be talking about his running backs here, but that kind of like is the only running back that he does kind of have that is going to make sure that he's going to be reaching his potential. Once again, CMC is banged up though. He did practice today, actually for the first exact time. Does have a calf injury. Calf injuries kind of linger, so it's something to kind of pay attention to be honest. He does have Javonte, big fan of Javonte. And then I'm pretty sure he's going to be, sliding in Jalen Warren sometimes as well. So that's something to kind of look out for there. Jalen Waddle as the wide receiver one, I'm into it. Let's do it. But, he does have to compete with Tyreek Hill, so it's something to think about. DJ Moore, once again, we finally got to the trio of the Bears, so this is the last one that we're going to be talking about today. Just really don't know how that's going to work. I do like Caleb Williams, but the distribution, rookie quarterbacks, it's not good for fantasy, and that's what history has shown. But history has a chance of proving itself wrong sometimes as well. So something to kind of look at. One of my favorite parts of this team is this Amari Cooper and George Pickens in the flex dough. I think these are super underrated wide receivers. They're awesome to have in the flex. These are people that you're looking for consistency. George Pickens also has that boom and bust week. So he has potential to be the best wide receiver on his team any given week, honestly. I know there's people are a little bit concerned about the Pittsburgh QBs. Let's hope that they have a good season, but I do like George Pickens this season. Someone to have that can kind of give you some really good potential, honestly. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of Mac's team in a nutshell right here. CJ Stroud actually did not talk about yet. CJ has the really good upside as well, just because of his wide receiver trio that he has there. I think CJ Stroud is going to be, he's really hyped up this season. I think he's going to have a very fine season. He doesn't have that rushing upside, so that really does limit him, but I think it's going to be really good because once again, he has a really good wide receiver trio with Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins. So I think he should be absolutely fine. Once again, not a terrible team, but I am a little bit worried about the upside and the consistency that can happen here. I'd even talk about Dalton Schultz as well, but I do like the stack there. If you're going to stack him, I'm glad you have CJ Stroud, and I'm pretty sure that's probably what Mac's thinking was, honestly. All right, next team that we're going to go with is, sadly, it's going to be my team. All right, here we go. All right, so first thing you kind of see here, obviously I'm a big fan of Brees. I think is going to be the running back one here, which is something that you always do want to see. I not really. I really am pretty into Tony Pollard and Brian Robinson this season, but it's a matter of them hitting, honestly. let's hope that they are going to be showing some good running back potential, so I can probably interchange them, and hopefully all three of them hit, so I can honestly put them in the flex. Huge risk of getting Justin Jefferson. He did drop for a reason, but he is Justin Jefferson, best wide receiver in the league. He did show that he can score without Kirk Cousins last season. I think he was upwards to around like 17 points per game. So we're hoping that's kind of replicated. I do think his ceiling is limited a little bit, but he's Justin Jefferson, got to take that risk with him. So that's something that I did. I'm a big Devontae Smith person overall. Really do love him. He has the ability to be the best wide receiver on this team, along with Tank Dell as well. Tank Dell showed that he can be a very prolific, honestly, wide receiver last season. So if he didn't get hurt, he might have honestly been jumping up. I think I drafted him in about the 4th or 5th round, I believe it is. So he even got ranked. He got drafted a lot higher than people even like expected, but he's shown to be a baller. CJ Stroud loves him. I think that's CJ Stroud's favorite wide receiver, low key. He kind of admitted it when he's picking his like Hall of Fame lineup. So I do like Tank Dell. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a little sketch. If you go to the bench here, I was talking about Brian Robinson before. Let's hope he can kind of make a splash. I'm probably honestly going to be starting him in the flex actually, regardless. And I do like Brian Thomas this season. I do hope that he's starting on my lineup sometime soon, later this season. Let's see. Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback. I definitely did it for the rushing upside. Let's hope it hits. And he has actually some potential to kind of be what Anthony Richardson did last season before he got hurt. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Didn't get the QB that I wanted, but I will settle with Jaden Daniels. But this is why I'm ranked where I am. I have myself in number 8. Things can definitely not go the right way here. And I didn't even say anything about Mark Andrews either. He got in a car accident. He hasn't really been practicing. At least I don't think he practiced it. He hasn't practiced recently, unless he practiced today, but he is literally hopefully playing tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to be a really big part of the workload there, or maybe the Ravens are just kind of ghosting us here. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Might be a rough season for this guy, honestly. Not too happy about it. All right. Next, we're going to go Abro's team. And Abro definitely has the best name. And that's all I really have to say about this. All right. Abro's team. Love Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to be cementing himself as RB1 again. And honestly, Abro has a really good wide receiver, or not wide receiver, running back depth. Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Jerome Ford. Pretty sure he has Zamir White as well. He does have Zamir White. So honestly, really cool things to kind of look at here. You want depth, especially in this new 2 flex kind of format here. So I do like that for him. The biggest thing for me, honestly, is the wide receivers. Davante Adams, I'm just not in on Davante Adams this season. He definitely is one of the best wide receivers in the league, but I really do hope he gets traded. And I think that's kind of like, I just don't know if he is going to get traded, honestly. That's the biggest thing for me. Raiders haven't really shown to be making any progress. Gardner Minshew barely won that. Well, he didn't even win the quarterback job. They basically gave it to him because him and Aiden O'Connell basically played like trash during the preseason. So things are not honestly really looking good for that. Michael Pittman, I think he kind of hit his ceiling last season, honestly. We'll see with Anthony Richardson kind of back into the mix. Gardner Minshew was definitely kind of like just praying sometimes out there. So, hey, maybe that kind of helps Davante Adams, even though I kind of just said before he's going to have a down season. But Pittman kind of, I think, is going to reach his ceiling with this, lower end wide receiver 1 territory. So like number 12 and like 15 type of thing there. Brock Bowers is also kind of sketch. 2 Raiders on 1 team. I don't like that. Not a good offense. Probably wouldn't be a good offense. So just something for me right there. Kyler Murray should be electric. He always is, but let's hope his team is actually good. I do worry that, there is going to be a loss of morale there of the Cardinals not being good again, and things are going to kind of honestly not go well there. So it's more of a team vibe for me for the Arizona Cardinals. And Kyler Murray would be the scapegoat if the Cardinals not perform well. So that's why we have Abro at 7. I'm honestly kind of thinking maybe after even doing this, it might a little bit better him, but probably not. So there we go. All right. We are now entering the top 6 here. So top 6, the people who are supposed to make the playoffs according to these rankings. We are going to start off with Lauder, who also has a very electric team. Shout out to Donkey Kong. I do love Burrow. I think he's going to show himself. He is back, QB1. He obviously got hurt last season. The season before that, I'm pretty sure he was up there with the quarterbacks. Jamar Chase stack. I love that. I think that is some league winning potential. And I think that's really kind of what sold it for me. Chris Olave, I think Derek Carr gets a lot of hate right now, but the ball has to go to somebody. And Chris Olave has shown that he is capable of getting targets. Let's hope for some long touchdowns as well. Like someone's got to get fed there. I think it could be Olave. I do just get sketched out about maybe Derek Carr is replaced and the Saints are going to be in some turmoil. Like things can happen like that, honestly. But I think enter DK Metcalf here. I think he's going to be a little bit more consistent. I know I was kind of just saying I'm not really too big on the Seattle's offense, but I think they're going to be an okay team. And DK Metcalf's going to lead the charge there. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his touchdowns. And let's hope Gino and him are kind of continuing to build that red zone connection. So we'll see that. So I do kind of like DK Metcalf, honestly, more than Chris Olave this season. So we'll see about that. Don't love the Josh Palmer starting at the flex. I would honestly probably, you're hoping Lad McConkey is going to be there sometime soon. Devin Singletary is RB1 for the Giants, so it's something to kind of look at. I do like Caleb Williams is some upside. So if you do want to trade Joe Burrow, something to kind of look out for. James Conner, Ramondre Stevenson. James Conner on a good offense with the Cardinals, maybe. We'll see. He also gets banged up, also older. We'll see how that turns out. Ramondre Stevenson, not on the best offense. Was banged up last season. Let's see if he does return to form. He does get receptions, but Antonio Gibson might be taking some of those things as well. I feel like that's why they signed him, honestly. So, Lauder's team is definitely decent. Honestly, kind of even doing this right now. I feel like me, him, and Abro are a little bit interchangeable here. So kind of like look out for that, and we'll see if something happens there. I feel like I'm a little bit higher on Lauder now. Honestly, kind of doing these rankings than I should be. Might have Abro over him. Might have myself over him as well. So we'll see. All right, number 5, we are going to go with Berto's team. All right, Berto's team. Biggest thing for me is I'm really huge on the wide receivers here. CD Lamb, Cooper Kupp. I think they're going to return back to, Kupp is going to return back to form. CD Lamb's going to do his thing. The Cowboys love to throw. Dak loves to throw. I know they're not really getting too much hype as a team, honestly, this season, but I think it's going to be okay. CD Lamb is going to figure it out. He is wide receiver 1. He just got paid. It's going to be all right. Kupp, once again, returning form. I love Sam Laporta as a tight end. He is a sit and forget type of person. All that the Lions have is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So enter Sam Laporta. I think he's going to be a stud again. He was tight end number 1 last season for a reason. It's not going to be a fluke, and he's going to be up there. I do like T. Higgins. Joe Burrow always finds T. Higgins. They definitely had a connection this preseason. I know he doesn't have a contract, but guess what? This is redraft. I think T. Higgins is going to be fine in the flex. I love that. The sketchiest part here, probably for me, is I don't like Christian Watson. I think I have actually someone else penciled. Xavier Worthy is someone that I would play more than this, especially Hollywood Brown's out tomorrow. So, I mean, not trying to give you advice, but Loki trying to give you advice. I think Xavier Worthy is the play. Tajay Spears is the play. That's just something that I'm kind of thinking in my top of my head here. Rashad White, Chase Brown. Honestly, I might even play Spears over Chase Brown. Chase Brown's not even supposed to be the starter, so we'll see how that plays out. I think if Chase Brown obviously does, start to kind of take a lot more carries than Zach Moss, then things are going to get a little better. Rashad White was someone who got a lot of his points on volume and wasn't really efficient with it. So we'll see how the Bucks go. I'm definitely not down on the Bucks. I think I would pick them to potentially win their division again, but it's probably not likely in such a division like that. Things are all going to get mixed up. I do love Jordan Love as quarterbacks. He's probably the person that I want to own on the Packers because they're spreading the ball to literally so many people. I do love that play, but can he show that he can do it again? I was definitely doubting him last season. Loki kind of doubting him this season, but I think there's some good consistency here. The biggest thing for me here is the CD Lamb, Kupp, Sam Laporta, Higgins trio. Once I really do like Worthy, I would probably honestly put him more up here than anything. So Burrow's team definitely has some abilities here, honestly. Running backs, though, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. So we're kind of getting to this mesh of the tier here. Honestly, I feel like Burrow can even join me, the Lauder Abro kind of tier here, where we're never really going to know what's going to kind of happen. So we'll see. All right. Number four, surprisingly, we have is Mulo. Um, uh, Solid team, honestly. We love MVP Lamar kind of leading the pack here. I think he's gonna have another great season. He rushes the ball. Andrews, another year with Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman's always kind of getting low-key hype, but Lamar kind of spreads the ball. He runs the ball. I think he's gonna be fine. QB1, don't even worry about it. One person that I'm super high on and is James Cook. I think James Cook is easily going to be a top 6 running back. Honestly, mark it down. Remember this. Devon Achane Devon Achane was a great keeper. I think he is league winning, but you can never know with the Dolphins. You have to hope that he's going to be leading the charge here. You know, Mostert, what he did last season was absolutely incredible. What Devon Achane also did with efficiency and with his carries per yard is just honestly ridiculous. We'll see if it happens again. Once again, he is league winning. If he can do that, not even like every week, but consistently even score like 15 at the lowest. And if he can just go for like 25 or 30, and he probably even had more last season, it's pretty much game over. He can break fantasy, honestly. Love Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver one. You don't even have to sweat that. He is gold, an absolute star in this league now. Drake London, someone that you're a little bit more sketchier about, but Kirk Cousin, he passes the ball. They signed him for a reason. He was having an MVP season last year with the Vikings, but then he got hurt. So I see him to honestly come back. I don't like the Drake London and Kyle Pitts stack here though. Two Falcons, two like unknown offense, new quarterback. Kirk Cousins with Achilles. I'd rather just take a risk on one. Like I am higher on the Falcons, but I just don't like them together. It's just something that I'm just not a big fan of, honestly. I do like Scary Terry. Scary Terry in the flex, exactly where he needs to be. I'm hype about it. That's something that I would have honestly kind of done to move forward as well. Zach Moss splitting carries Chase Brown. I guess we'll see, but Zach Moss currently is the starter, so we'll see. I do like the dart throws with Curtis Samuel. He should be obviously playing on the Bills. Jerry Judy traded to the Browns. We'll see what happens there. Jerry Judy's never been great, but hey, maybe this is the time it happens, honestly. Isaiah Likely, probably the best tight end handcuff to have. They would even say they're probably going to be running some two tight end sets, especially with even Andrews. Like I was just kind of saying, like, I don't know what's going on, scar accident, like in his injuries. Hasn't really practiced. Unless he practices that once again, it's not something I'm aware of about. But sneaky play for tomorrow, honestly. If you don't want to play Kyle Pitts, so something to kind of look into. But honestly, this team's good. I'm a huge fan of this team. It's it has some playoff potential. So we will definitely see for sure. Next team, entering the top three, we have is Alexis's team. All right. So Alexis team is you have Josh Allen. You can never go wrong with Josh Allen. For me, honestly, might have a down season because they don't have anyone to throw to, but that's even better for Josh Allen. More rushes. He throws a lot of Hail Marys regardless. Long bombs. So I think he's gonna be fine. Will he be like the QB1? Probably not, but he's still probably going to be in the top 6 territory. Not really going to be surprised if he's not, unless the Bills absolutely just collapse. We'll see. I do love Barkley as RB1, Kenneth Walker as well as his RB2. You know, maybe a little bit sketchy here. But these are two people that I'm definitely in on. So let's see how that kind of goes there. Marvin Harrison Jr. as the wide receiver one this team. Never really want to rely on a rookie, but he's a generational wide receiver. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. Maybe closer to wide receiver two, but we'll see. And Nico Collins with a 30-year breakout last season. I really am really big on the Texans. I really do love Nico Collins, and I really do like Tank Dell. So that really kind of more gets that bump for me. Zay Flowers, once again, I'm also super in on Zay Flowers. I love him here at the flex, that wide receiver 3 position. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are not going to be any slouches. They're going to be great again. So they're going to be great. Their offensive is going to improve even more. Zay Flowers going to year two. You never know what's really going to happen there. Something I don't agree with here is JSN. I think I'm playing Cortland Sutton, honestly. JSN hasn't really shown too much. I just don't think he's someone that I'm starting, to be honest. So that's just kind of like where I stand on that. I think I'm playing Cortland Sutton. The worst part of this Alexis' team, honestly, is his bench, though. It's not really the best. Like, I do like Trevor Lawrence as a back QB, but you're hoping with Josh Allen that you don't really have to do that, honestly. Brayden Allen, I don't think he's really going to be doing anything this season. Really more of like a handcuff than anything. Zeke Elliott as well. Like, I don't know. We're not 5 years in the past. Corley, I don't think he's going to be doing anything for the Jets. Adonai Mitchell, we'll see, but I think it's going to be more of a kind of a weight play here. So not really. Well, I guess this is number three. I guess I'm honestly kind of rethinking that. The bench is really not the best. I think I honestly might have Mulo a little bit over this team, to be honest. So top three, gonna be rethinking that a little bit, honestly, after kind of doing this. So we'll see. All right, number two. Number two, we do have is KP. All right, here's KP's team. So KP, really strong trio with his running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs, like I was saying, I think he is a stud, but might need to wait a little bit for him to kind of get started. Does have that injury. I do think David Montgomery is going to be kind of not be getting spelled a lot, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to kind of be that second running back, but we'll see. I just do think he's going to have a better second half than a first half. But the good thing about this team is that KP can actually have that weight because he has ETN. A lot of people have a lot of hatred towards ETN, because he had a really great season and think he's going to repeat. There is zero reason why he should not repeat. He's a stud. He is going to be a really big part of that Jags offense. I'm really into ETN, so it's kind of where I stand. Don't like Kyron, though. Don't really like Kyron at all, to be honest, but Rams running backs, they are great for fantasy. So I think I just need to kind of get that in my head. Really great running back trio here. Kyron should be okay. We'll see. I know he kind of gets banged up, but I think saying someone is injury prone is kind of ridiculous, but maybe he is, maybe he's not. I do think Corum is going to be spelling him a little bit here. Corum is a very great running back, so we'll see. The thing about this team is the wide receivers. I don't think there is an outright wide receiver one, but they can be. Brandon Ayuk can be the wide receiver one. Chris Godwin can back in the slot this season. Everyone needs to remember that he is back in the slot. Definitely very underappreciated. And he has shown that he can be a wide receiver one this past. So why not do it again? I know Mike Evans is there. Baker should also not degress like he kind of did with the Browns after a good season. I think Baker's going to be a little bit consistent here. Calvin Ridley, I think he will overtake Hopkins kind of like wide receiver one, but you never really know. Will Levis having a good preseason, definitely getting some hype here. So I really do like the upside on this team. Dak Prescott on a good offense with Cowboys. I think he should be okay. Let's kind of take a look at this bench, though. I like Shakir as a little dart throw as well. Musgrave. Not really so much Watson and Thielen, honestly, but hey, we'll see about that. But honestly, really solid team. He's so lucky that Brandon Ayuk signed this contract, or things definitely could have got dangerous. I didn't even mention anything about Trey McBride. I think Trey McBride, top three tight end, no doubt about it. Really boosts this team up for me as well. So that's why we have KP at number two here. All right. And lastly, we have is Albano's team. Albano's team, very interesting to me. I think I just love the way it looks, honestly. Anthony Richardson, supposed to be a stud. But guess what? If he's not a stud, Albano has Jared Goff, which is something that I love. I love that insurance, but Anthony Richardson is someone that's supposed to be league winning. So that's kind of where I stand on about that. But I do love the Goff combination. I think if Goff was entering in this lineup, nothing really changes. Maybe it gets slightly worse, but that's why you got Anthony Richardson to be a little bit better. Bijan Robinson, I think is going to be a stud this season. I think he's going to be amazing. I don't think he's really going to have a bad week, so let's do that. Kamara, someone I'm always down on, but Saints got to do something. Kamara has been good for literally ever. Why is it going to stop? He is the cheat code for the Saints, so I think we should be okay. Puka, is he going to have the season that he did last season? Probably not, but he's going to be pretty similar, so I think he's good to go. Mike Evans, once again, is this going to be the year that Mike Evans doesn't get 1,000 yards? Probably not. Why not keep going with him? George Kittle, also super, super consistent. He can win you any single week because he can either score 30 points, but he could also kind of hamper you a little bit. I don't think he's ever going to be scoring you two, but he might be falling a little bit out of the range of the 10 points. The Niners have a lot of mouths to feed. Love Rashee Rice this season. Love him. Abana really did actually choose his player when he went to go get him. Pretty sure he went pretty early. I was pretty upset about it. Definitely want to give him as a little bit of a sleeper. I think Rashee Rice is going to be perfectly fine. Once again, really blew up towards the second half of the season. He's going to be one of Patrick Mahomes' guy. He's the guy that is going to get that short yardage, maybe middle yardage, and then Xavier Worthy is going to be the guy over the top. So Rashi Rice is going to have a really good season. Deontay Johnson, also super big on. That's going to be Bryce's guy. He has also shown they could be a wide receiver one about 2 seasons ago with the Steelers, so why not be able to do it again, honestly? So something I'm super in on. Obano has a really good team. I do like Eckler, and Dowdle and on his bench for some running back depth. He definitely needs some wide receiver depth, but with these 4 wide receivers, I definitely do not hate it at all. So that's just kind of like where I stand with that. So shocking turn of events with Albano at number one. But let's look at some matchups. To be honest, didn't really look at the point comparisons here. So let's see kind of like where I stand with my rankings and the people who are supposed to score points. So apparently I'm one of the worst. Abro also one of the worst with 123. Kind of wild. Who's supposed to score the most? 133, 133. Wow, Mac's supposed to be scoring some of the most with 133. That's actually ridiculous since I have him ranked as literally I think, the fourth the worst team. So maybe I don't know what I'm doing, but whatever. I hope you enjoy the rankings. Good luck to absolutely nobody. And let's have an awesome season. So I'm out of here. Goodbye.